and welcome back to Pronunciation with Emma, or welcome if you're brand new to my channel. In this video, we're going to look at 10 of the most commonly mispronounced and confused words in English by English learners and compare them on their own and in sentences. I've of course saved the hardest pair until last, so make sure you stay until the end to practice the most difficult and most commonly confused words by English learners. At the very end of this video, I've included a very short quiz that you can take to practice your listening comprehension and to practice what you have learned today. I would love to know your score and how well you've done after watching this lesson. So after you've taken the quiz, you can pop your results down in the comments. But before we do that and before we get started with anything, if you're interested in taking private English lessons with a qualified English teacher, then why not check out Preply? Preply offers one-to-one English classes for many different languages, not just English. You can use the filter options on Preply to find your perfect teacher and easily book a lesson with them on their app or website. You can easily keep track of your learning progress on Preply, as well as do extra activities outside your lessons to practice what you've learned with your teacher. It truly is a complete and all-in-one platform, perfect for anyone who's learning a language. One of the most amazing things about taking lessons on Preply is that you can get feedback from a teacher. So what you can do is practice what you've learned in this lesson and get a nice 50% discount with the code Emma on your first lesson with your Preply teacher. One of the most amazing things about having lessons with a private teacher is that they can correct you and give you feedback, which is personalized and tailored to you. So why not go and take a look? Use the code Emma to get 50% off your first lesson on Preply. Use the link down in the description and go find your perfect teacher. Thank you very much, Preply, for sponsoring this part of the video. Let's get started with our first commonly confused pair of words. Pair number 1. I've not started easy. Loose and lose. Let's talk about the pronunciation first. Loose, loose. So that ending is a s, it's voiceless. Loose. The second one, lose, lose. You hear the difference? Loose, lose. That second word has a voiced z at the end. Z, s, z, s. Loose, lose. Loose means something that doesn't fit tightly. So maybe you're talking about clothes and you can say, this is a loose jumper. This is a loose dress. It means that it doesn't fit tightly. Maybe it's too big. Lose, on the other hand, means that you had something and then it's suddenly not in your possession anymore. Perhaps it's because you cannot find it. Let's practice in some sentences. Listen carefully and then repeat. These trousers are very loose. These trousers are very loose. I always lose my keys. I always lose my keys. Number 2. Want and won't. Now, a common mispronunciation is to pronounce want like want because there is an A in the spelling, but actually it's more of an O sound. O. Want. Want. However, our other word, won't, notice that my mouth moves more. Want, want, won't, won't. Want means to desire, to possess, or to do something, while won't is the negative contracted form of will not, which is something that we use when we talk about the future. I will go to the cinema. I will not go to the cinema tomorrow, for example. Again, listen carefully and repeat. I want to travel the world. I want to travel the world. I won't be able to attend the meeting. I won't be able to attend the meeting. Number 3, this is one that even native speakers confuse, more in writing than in speech. Advice and advise. Now the pronunciation difference here is the ending. Advice. This is voiceless. advice, advice, and then advise. Now we have vibration. Advise, advice, advise, advice, with the voiceless ending, is a noun, and it is a recommendation or guidance. As a side note, remember that advice is uncountable. So we never say, can I give you an advice? Can I give you some advice? Or can I give you a piece of advice? Treat this word advice like you would information, for example. You wouldn't say an information or news. Can I give you a news? No, they're all uncountable. So, can I give you some advice? Here's some news. Can I give you some information? Remember, never use it on its own with an. Advise, with the vibration, on the other hand, is the verb. And this means to give advice. It's to give suggestions and recommendations. Listen and repeat. Can I give you some advice? Can I give you some advice? I usually advise them to stay away. I usually advise them to stay away. Number 4, this is a big one. I actually have a YouTube video all about bear, beer, bird, beard. It was my first ever YouTube video and it's so cringe to look back at it. But if you want to, I will leave it down in the description. It's so bad because it was my first ever video. I really should delete it. Should I? Should I delete? No, I'll keep it. I'll keep it just for the nostalgic factor. But anyway, the difference here is in the vowels. So we have beer, beer, bear, bear. So notice the vowel shape, the shape of the mouth as I do them. Air, air, ear, ear, bear, beer. Bear has a few different meanings. Number 1, it can be a noun, which is a big fluffy animal that lives in a forest usually. However, as a verb, it can mean to carry weight. Beer, on the other hand, is a drink. This is usually made with fermented yeast and then flavoured with hops. Again, listen and repeat. I saw a bear while hiking in the forest. I saw a bear while hiking in the forest. Now you might be thinking, Emma, why are you saying I saw ra? Why is there a ra in there? I always get this question in videos, so I always need to mention it. This is an intrusive R. This is something that typically happens with British English speakers, let's just call it that for simplicity. But speakers from the UK, we tend to use something called the intrusive R. If you want to know more about it, I have a full video all about it. I'll link it down in the description and in the card above. Go and watch that after this one if you want to know more about this sora and this linking R. Intrusive R, intrusive R. Would you like a beer? Would you like a beer? So careful you're not saying, would you like a bear? Would you like a beer? Now, you may be thinking, Emma, why are you saying would you and not would you? This is another way of connecting words and sounds together. This is called assimilation. You might have heard it when saying things like, nice to meet you. Notice that natives, a lot of the time, they won't say, nice to meet you, and they don't separate those words, but they connect them. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. And the same is happening here. Would you? Would you? We connect them together and add, change that sound there and say j instead of d. I have a full video all about it that explains more. As always, linked in the card above and in the description. Go and check it out after watching this if you want to know more about assimilation. Pair number 5, and no, I'm not making it any easier as we get through these. These two are wonder and wander. This really is quite confusing because the spelling is kind of telling us it's like the opposite, right? So wonder has the O, but wander has the A. Why? So the key difference here is the vowel sound in the first syllable. So wonder, drop the jaw, one, wonder. And then the second one, round your mouth, wonder, wonder, wonder. Wonder as a verb means to feel really curious to know more about something. Maybe you're questioning something, you're thinking deeply about something. I wonder what I'll have for lunch. As a noun, it can be a person, a place, or a thing that is amazing and truly remarkable. Wonder, on the other hand, with o, wonder, this means to walk around aimlessly with no particular direction, just leisurely wandering, walking around. You can use this as a verb. I like to wander through the park. Or as a noun, to go for a wander. I enjoy going for a wander through the park. It's like to go on a nice, leisurely, aimlessly, no directional walk. So listen carefully. I wonder where John went. He left so suddenly. I wonder where John went. He left so suddenly. It's not safe to wander through the streets at night. It's not safe to wander through the streets at night. Number 6, boat and bought. Boat has the same vowel that we looked at in won't. So make sure you're moving your mouth. O, boat, boat. Now, bought, on the other hand, tends to get confused a little bit, mostly because people are influenced by the spelling. So try not to look at that OU in bought and think, oh, it's O. It's not. It's a long or vowel. The same vowel that's in law, for, door, court, etc. Keep it a long vowel. Bought. So to compare the two, boat, bought. Bought is the past tense of the verb to buy, and this means to exchange something for money. Boat, on the other hand, is a small vessel that we use to travel on water. So listen carefully. This has another tricky sound in, so be really careful. I went shopping yesterday and I bought some new clothes. I went shopping yesterday and I bought some new clothes. Now, Emma, why are you saying clothes and you're not saying clothes? Well, in rapid speech, what many native speakers do is instead of trying to pronounce our ths in clothes, we cut the th and we say clothes, clothes. I like your clothes. Where'd you buy your clothes? It's so much easier to say. So I advise you to do the same if you want to do that. The boat needs to be repaired. The boat needs to be repaired. This and these, number 7. The difference here is the vowel and the ending. So we've got two things to focus on here. This has a very, very short vowel, this, and the ending is a voiceless s, this. However, these. Notice that the vowel here isn't as short as I. I. Notice also what I'm doing. I'm smiling. This one is what I like to call the miserable I. This, I. Then you've also got this one, what I like to call the smiley E. E, these. This, these. Pay close attention to the ending as well. Ease, these. Vibration. This, these. This, these. This is used to identify a thing or a person that is close to you. For example, this pen. Look at this pen. While these is the plural. So now we have two. I can say, look at these pens. Look at this pen. Look at these pens. Pay close attention to that v sound as well. Make sure you're not saying dis and dees, or zis and z's, or sis and c's. Make sure your tongue is in between your teeth when you do this sound. This, these. So listen carefully and repeat. I'd like to buy this bag, please. I'd like to buy this bag, please. I'd like to buy these bags, please. I'd like to buy these bags, please. Number 8, we're nearly there. Year, ear. Year. So notice my tongue is coming up there. Year, year, and then ear, ear. My tongue doesn't come up for that y there. This is the same y that you find in words like yes, yesterday, yellow, year, ear. So a year is a period of 365 days, or 366 if it's a leap year, usually starting from January, while ear is the organ on the side of your head that you use to listen to things. This is your ear. So listen carefully and repeat. I haven't seen him in 3 years. I haven't seen him in 3 years. Notice as well that I'm connecting that haven't seen. I haven't seen. I think I have a problem with my ear. I think I have a problem with my ear. Emma, why does it sound like you're saying yeah? So here what we have is some more connected speech. Here what we're adding is a y sound to the beginning. So we've got my ear, my ear. So yes, it does sound like my ear. This is because we have 2 vowel sounds together. So we add another sound in there to help join them together. My ear, my ear. So it helps make that transition between those 2 vowels a little bit smoother. If you don't want to practice it with that link, let's change it. So let's say, I think he has a problem with his ear. I think he has a problem with his ear. Ear, his ear. So now compare. He has a problem with his ear. He has a problem with his year. You notice now I'm adding that y for the year. With his ear, with his year. Number 9, we're nearly there. Can and can't. Now that first one actually has 2 different ways to pronounce it, and it all depends on whether the word is stressed or unstressed. If you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say stressed and unstressed, you know the drill. Card, description, you can go watch that video later. If we're looking at the strong version of this word, can, it's a very open vowel. Can. However, if we're saying this in a sentence, we're going to say it very weakly with our mouth a little bit more relaxed. Can. Now the negative, can't, notice that it's not quite the same vowel as that strong form of can. We have can, can't. Can, can't. Notice this is very open, and this one, we just drop the jaw. Can't. Also notice the length. This one is longer. A little trick that I like to teach my students when they have problems with long and short vowels and pronouncing them is to imagine that you're kneading some pizza dough or some bread dough, okay? So you're making some bread or making some pizza, whichever you prefer. And every time you've got a long vowel, I want you to stretch out the dough, okay? So you're taking that dough, you stretch it. For example, imagine we say can. Can't quite stretch the dough there, but can't. Now we're stretching that dough. Can, short. Can't stretch the dough. Can't stretch the dough. So can means to be able to do something, while can't is the contracted form of cannot, which is the negative form of can. So let's practice. Listen very carefully here. Can you help me? Yes, I can. Can you help me? Yes, I can. I can. Can. Notice in the first one, I'm using the weak form, can, and then in the second one, I'm using the strong form, can. She can't come to the party. She can't come to the party. Take that pizza dough. She can't come to the party. She can come. She can't come to the party. Number 10, the one that you've all been waiting for. Word and world. Now I'd like to take a moment just to focus on the vowels here. So we have a very, very relaxed long vowel here. Again, take out that pizza dough, make that pizza. Relax your mouth completely. Imagine you're thinking, what am I having for lunch? Pizza? I'm making pizza? Bread? So make sure it's really, really relaxed and a long vowel. So if we put that w in the at the beginning, were, keep it really relaxed. Were. Now if we focus on the first one, word, it's quite simple because we just add the d at the end there. Word, word. Now the tricky one is world. Now what students tend to have problems with is that l-d combination. What's interesting about this word is that it uses something called the dark L. In English, we have two types of L. The light L, which appears before a vowel, and then the dark L, which appears after a vowel. The difference here is the light L is released. So if I say, for example, love, love, and if I say ball, ball, notice that with ball, it's not released. I don't say ball, ball. I hold it. And that's the O sound that we need in world. But then Emma, how do we pronounce the O and D together if my tongue needs to stay up? Well, that's exactly what you need to do. Hold your tongue up as you're doing that O and then release it as a D. So we're not going to release two different sounds here. We're only going to release one sound. So we have, if I imagine this is my mouth. So we have, this way, we have world, world. I'm releasing it as a D. World, holding, not world, world, world. So a word is a single unit of language that has meaning. World, on the other hand, means the earth and all the people and the places and things that are on it. So listen very carefully. What's the word for tomato in Spanish? What's the word for tomato in Spanish? I want to travel the world someday. I want, remember that O? I want to travel the world someday. What am I doing there? The world someday. Instead of releasing that as a D, I'm connecting it together. World someday. If you just want to practice without the someday, I want to travel the world. I want to travel the world. Release on the D. Well done, you've made it to the quiz. I'm going to say one word from each of the 10 pairs that we've looked at in this video. I'll give a 3-second pause and then I'll reveal the answer. As we're going along each of these words, I'd like you to keep a score of how many you get correct. Are you ready? Number 1. Lose. Won't. Advice. Beer. Wonder. Boat. This. Ear. Can't. World. So, what did you get? What was your score? Tell me down below in the comments. How many did you get correct out of 10? And the winner wins £1 million. So get commenting. Remember, if you're interested in improving your English and taking private lessons with a teacher, then why not check out Preply? The link is down below in the description. Remember to use the code EMMA to get 50% off your first lesson. Enjoy the rest of your week and I will see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.